So today we're reviewing the film Dunkirk. And so primarily why I'm reviewing this film, it's because it just came out exactly, well, not exactly, a few days later, a year ago. So it's been first anniversary for this film. And truly, I gotta say that I was really lucky to watch this film on IMAX. It's actually my first movie that I watched on IMAX, on the IMAX theater. And right off the bat, when I walked out, I was like, this was not a film. This was an experience. Literally, like, no joke. The whole movie just takes you into a really intense and thrilling ride that, I mean, if you watch the whole movie, it's literally one of the best experiences that you're ever gonna have. At least if you watch it on the movie theater. But I mean, if you have a chance to buy it, I mean, right now, and watch it on the big screen that you have in your living room or anything, you truly are not gonna be disappointed, because this movie, right from the opening shot, I still remember, just dives you deeper into, like, it just dives you right there in the battle. Like, you start literally in the battle. So basically this movie consists about the evacuation of the Allied troops, or more known as the Allied soldiers, which consisted of the British, French, and Belgian soldiers that are trapped on the beaches of Dunkirk. And basically the whole movie consists of this successful evacuation, that not only civilians are able to go out on the calling and help them, but also other soldiers and military ships that get these soldiers that are trapped. And right off the bat, when I knew this film was going to be directed by Christopher Nolan, I knew that this movie was going to be a success. Like, I literally knew, okay, Christopher Nolan, what is this guy going to show us in this film? He's actually one of my favorite directors. I think he's probably one of the most talented cinematic actors of the 21st century, because literally his films are just so good. Like, you can literally see the talent that this guy has, not only on writing but in directing, when he's able to push limits, not only with the cast, cinematography, sound, production design, everything. It's just so good that he's able to take the audience into the next level. And this is what the film of Dunkirk does. This film has an excellent cinematography work, which was made by cinematographer Hoyte van Hoytema. If you don't know who this guy is, it's this guy right here. This guy has worked in other great and successful films, which are movies such as Spectre, Her, and Interstellar, which was also a work that he made with director Christopher Nolan. And just the way that they managed to do the cinematography in this movie, it's just amazing. Like, it's beautiful. It's just too real. Because if you think about it, the movie is basically about the event, the actual evacuation that the soldiers had to go through. It's not so much about the character development that they're trying to show in the film. Like, yeah, we do have characters, we do have soldiers, we do have civilians that they speak and have some sort of conversation in the film. But the film doesn't really highlight that. It highlights more the suffering and the psychological fear that these soldiers have to go through when they are being attacked by Nazi planes, when they are being bombed by, the enemy, because they really don't know where it's going to come through or from. So this movie is divided in 3 timelines that show us the 3 different perspectives from the battle of Dunkirk. The first one, it's the mole, which has a time frame of about a week, and this one is about the soldiers that are trapped and they're trying to find a way out. I thought it was pretty smart how Christopher Nolan was able to make this, because you literally feel there. You feel the fear that these soldiers are going through, and you feel the painful situation that they have to manage to survive, because literally the goal for now for them is just to survive, to seek a way out, to get back home. So the second timeline, it's called the sea, which has a time frame of a day. And on this one, basically, it's the point of view of civilian boats that they go out on the calling to rescue these soldiers and bring them back home. And this also feels very, very real, because when you watch this point of view, or this timeline sequence perspective, you feel what the people on the boat are feeling. You feel the fear of those like planes going through from all kinds of directions and everything. You feel the need to help these soldiers that are sinking or that are trapped in the beach, and you just feel like you're there. I know I don't want to emphasize it too much, like you feel like you're there, you're there. But the experience and the whole goal of Dunkirk was to put you in the shoes of these characters, or at least the ones from the soldiers that suffered this madness in the Battle of Dunkirk. The third point, it's called The Air, and this one has a time frame of an hour. And this one was really an intense point of view, because you can see the dogfights that are happening on the planes, and how the British planes are fighting the Nazi planes to not let them be bombed by the enemy. Now this is where the cinematography really kicked in really well from Hoytema and Hoytema's camera work, because Christopher Nolan literally put the IMAX cameras on the plane to give us the actual perspective of the aerial view of what was happening. This movie doesn't rely, I don't think it really relies on any CGI effect. Actually, Christopher Nolan isolates himself from that type of special effects, and he really truly finds the realism from the production design, but also real locations, real equipment, real planes, the real battle. When you see these points of view, like, they're just well made. The cinematography is just stunning, it's thrilling, it's a well done movie from the cinematography aspect. Also, Hans Zimmer's score, it's amazing as well. And more than anything of being musical elements, it's more about sound design, because this film deals with tension, it deals with pressure, it deals with a battle against time. And throughout the film, you hear this ticking of a watch, and it's simulating how literally time is running out for the soldiers to be saved, to be evacuated from this horrible and fearful situation. And that score, the musical soundtrack, it's just happening over and over and over. So it's like a continuous pattern that it's, literally eating time, because what these soldiers need is to survive and get home. Now, there are reasons why I think people might get confused with this film, and it comes within the editing. And if you actually watch the film and pay close attention, you'll just keep jumping from the different timelines that are happening in the film. And so I think for some people that creates some sort of a confusion, or at least not a linear like plot structure that is happening throughout the film. But if you pay attention to Christopher Nolan's filmography, he is a huge fan of using time. This is one of his biggest and special style that he uses in many of his films. And if you actually think about it, we can see this in the films such as Interstellar, Inception, The Prestige, and probably the most obvious one would be Memento. And having that said, I think this is why I think Christopher Nolan really nailed it on this movie, because he uses his style, his element of time, in a movie that literally it's about how time is running out. And once he connects these patterns, and you'll see in the film how this pattern connects with the timeline, it's just the perfect combination of editing and story structure, because the time is the only battle that these soldiers are facing. The rescue, the evacuation, it's actually the biggest enemy that they have to face, besides the German armies and the planes and all that. But that's the true psychological battle that they have to face. And for this, I think Christopher Nolan did a great job directing this specific element for the film. So overall, the composition of Dunkirk, I believe it's a really great film. It's really well made. You can really see that the team, or the production crew, really pulled off a great story about them showing us the psychological battle and fear that the soldiers have to go through, and the successful evacuation that they were able to accomplish. So having that said, I'm going to give Dunkirk a 9 out of 10. Thank you guys so much for watching once again. I'll be looking forward to make more reviews. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, share it, subscribe, and if you have any other suggestions that you would like to for me to review, go ahead and give it to them. I'll give it a shot. and I'll see you guys in the next video.